Welcome to today's Explainer. You know, for years, the health and wellness world has been totally obsessed with flashy, imported wellness trends. But looking at the research today, it seems we might need to step back and rescue one of the most underrated, humble foods from the shadow of all that hype. I'm talking about the original superfood. Yep, everyday spinach.
Okay, let's dive into this. There is a massive, and I mean massive, contrast here. On one hand, we've got this modern supplement culture, right? Expensive, hyped-up powders that are often shipped from halfway across the globe. But on the other side, just everyday spinach. It's incredibly affordable, it's literally at every grocery store, and most importantly, it is backed by decades of rock-solid nutrition science. Once you actually look closely at its nutrient density, it's just undeniable.
Which brings us to a really fascinating core question. Does spinach actually give you energy? I mean, we've all grown up with that generations-old association, right? Eat your greens for strength and to fight off daily fatigue. But today, we're going to look past those old assumptions to investigate the real scientific link between this classic leafy green, its iron content, and how you genuinely feel on a day-to-day basis. Section 1. The Iron Reality and Nuance. So, when we think of spinach, we almost automatically think of iron for oxygenating the blood. But there's a biological catch here that you absolutely need to know. It's called non-heme iron. That's the specific plant-based form of iron found in spinach. And interestingly enough, non-heme iron just isn't absorbed by our bodies quite as efficiently as the heme iron you'd find in, say, red meat. So if you just eat a plain bowl of dry spinach, your body is actually going to struggle to absorb that iron fully. So the crucial point is, to fix that, we need to use the vitamin C hack. You can dramatically improve how your body absorbs that non-heme iron by simply pairing your spinach with vitamin C-rich foods. It's like unlocking a vault. Tossing some fresh strawberries into a spinach salad, maybe using a zesty citrus dressing, or throwing in some bell peppers or tomatoes. Doing that completely unlocks the plant's true power and naturally boosts your daily iron intake. And this brilliantly illustrates that energy isn't just about iron, though. If we look at the breakdown of exactly how spinach fuels our performance, we see 4 distinct sources working together like a giant puzzle. We have iron, yes, for oxygen transport, but there's also magnesium, which is absolutely vital for muscle function, nerve health, and getting good sleep. Then there's blood sugar stability, coming from all that whole food fiber to stop those awful afternoon crashes. And finally, hydration, which is supported by the natural water and potassium found right there in the leaves. All of this leads to a really powerful takeaway from our source material. Real energy production depends heavily on nutrition. Look, I get it. It is so incredibly easy to just reach for another cup of coffee when we feel exhausted. But spinach provides the actual, fundamental building blocks your cells need to create lasting, steady energy from the ground up. No caffeine jitters required. Section 2. Total Body Benefits. Expanding our lens a bit, making a habit of adding just a handful of this vegetable to your daily diet impacts your entire system. Let's break it down. First up, bone health. It's packed with vitamin K for long-term strength. Then there's eye health. Spinach contains these amazing antioxidants called lutein and zeaxanthin, which are absolutely crucial for combating screen strain. And let's be honest, we are all staring at our devices way too much these days. It also heavily supports heart health through better circulation and blood pressure. And digestive health, thanks to all that wonderful whole food fiber. Section 3. The practicality pivot, fresh versus frozen. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it completely changes the way we look at buying superfoods. It's so easy to assume that eating healthy every day has to be wildly expensive. But comparing fresh to frozen spinach flips that script. Sure, fresh spinach is fantastic for salads, wraps, and sandwiches, though we all know it has a pretty short shelf life. Frozen spinach, however, it is incredibly budget-friendly, available year-round, and retains a super high level of nutrition. It just completely bypasses that stigma that healthy eating means you have to buy expensive, highly perishable produce. Section 4. Putting it on the plate. Spinach sabzi. To actually put this into practice, the source highlights a deeply comforting Indian side dish, spinach sabzi. And it all starts with aromatic foundations. Just imagine heating oil with urad and chana dal, followed by the satisfying splutter of mustard and cumin seeds hitting the hot pan. Then you add in lightly crushed garlic and golden onions, finishing with fresh curry leaves and slit green chilies. You are building this absolutely incredible, fragrant base of flavor before the greens even come into play. Let's move to and see how this builds. Building on that beautifully aromatic base, the rest of the process is surprisingly simple. After tempering those spices, you cook down chopped tomatoes until they're wonderfully soft and mushy, mixing in dry spices like turmeric, chili, and coriander powder. Finally, you fold in 2 whole bunches of fresh, chopped spinach. And the really fascinating culinary trick here is that you don't even need to add extra water. The spinach naturally releases its own water as it simmers for about 10 minutes, blending just perfectly with the tomatoes and dal.
Once it's all done, you serve this rich, fragrant spinach sabzi steaming hot with some steamed rice, a side of sambar or rasam, or freshly warmed rotis. It's a wildly satisfying, heavily flavored way to boost your daily nutrition. And it proves, without a doubt, that utilizing the superfood doesn't have to mean forcing down a bland, watery green smoothie every morning.
To wrap up this explainer, there's a key quote from the text that really hits the nail on the head. Sometimes the most powerful superfoods are the simplest ones. Now, spinach isn't magic, right? It's not going to fix a week of poor habits all by itself overnight. But backed by literal decades of science, it remains one of the smartest, most straightforward, and reliable whole foods you can consistently put in your body.
So whether you're tossing it into a blender to get that vitamin C hack, grabbing some frozen blocks for a hearty winter soup, or cooking down a beautifully aromatic sabzi, the benefits are just sitting there waiting for you. The only question left is,